Now to an ABC4 special report revealing Utahns especially vulnerable to the suicide crisis. New numbers from the Utah Department of Public Health show back in 2018 that the state's older population died by suicide 4 times more often than younger people. ABC4's Jared Jotnini learned adult suicide is becoming more common in one particular aging community.
Well, the Utah Pride Center says adult suicide in our aging gay community is becoming more common. On a cool autumn morning, Dane Hoffman uses his ukulele to warm his spirits.
It's a bit of a juggling act sometimes.
Like thousands of other Utahns, the 55-year-old juggles life while managing depression and suicidal tendencies.
Kind of getting stuck sometimes in a loop. You know, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I hate me.
The tough times and darker thoughts are never too far away.
My first suicide attempt was when I was coming out. I was about 30 years old, and I didn't want to be gay. And I didn't see another way out, so I took some sleeping pills and tried to end my life then.
His most recent suicide attempt,
I'd rather not go into the specifics,
was a year and a half ago.
I'm doing better right now.
Hoffman says now he has a support system.
I think it all has to do with mental health. I'm very fortunate in that I have a husband who understands.
His husband, Charles Hoyelis, a professor at the University of Utah, conducted a study on aging suicide rates in the gay community. That was back in 2011. It's the last study we could find.
This is an example, potentially an example of ageism within the research community and ageism within the LGBTQ community. With implicit biases, we typically don't recognize that we even have them. But again, you're kind of at the end of your life, and so we need to focus our resources on younger people.
A part of that study, Hoyelis polled 2,500 older folks who identify as LGBTQ. 39% linked their suicidal thoughts to their sexual orientation. And Hoyelis says half report lack of companionship and feeling left out.
There's a lot of isolation, and in the LGBT community.
That's where services and advocacy for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender elders, also known as SAGE at the Utah Pride Center, steps in to help.
We're working on building all of these things and building a very well-rounded program for people so that they have someplace to go, so that we're meeting all their needs. Services
Hoffman relies on.
For folks who have attempted suicide, and it's a place where we can talk about how we're doing, really doing. It's a pretty deep group.
Hoffman says SAGE and other programs at the Utah Pride Center have taught him how to manage his emotions.
I'm super anxious, and normally I'd be hyperventilating and feeling like my heart's going to burst out of my chest, but I practice a little bit of mindfulness.
Whether it's walking his dogs,
the pride comes later,
finding the right tune, or coming to terms with his past.
You think somebody identifies with your story and maybe helps them on their journey.
Now, if you're watching and struggling with depression and suicidal ideation, you don't have to go at it alone. We hope Dane Hoffman's story inspires you to get help. SAGE at the Utah Pride Center has full-time counselors who are on standby, ready to help. For a full list of resources, check out our website, abc4.com. Back to you.
Our thanks to Jared. Well, there are resources, as Jared just mentioned, available to those who are struggling with suicidal ideation. If you need to talk to someone right away, though, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is open 24/7. The number there on your screen, it's 1-800-273-8255. You're not alone. We'll be right back.